digital time. We're going to a time before movies, before television, before Xboxes and more pegs, before green screens, before pixels, before render farms. We're going to a time when stories were received through the ear directly into the imagination. And so that the pictures and imagery that one saw were the products of one's own imagination. So that the listener was himself or herself our creator of the very story he or she was receiving. So once, in that time, there was a young hunter, and he rode atop a horse of power. The horse of power had eyes like fire. It had a broad chest. It had iron hooves that stamped the ground. And one day the hunter rode atop the horse of power through a dense forest. And as he listened to the stamping of the hooves of the horse of power, he thought to himself, I wonder why I can hear no birds singing in the forest. And as he thought that, he saw before him, laying on the floor of the forest, shining like the sun itself, a great curving golden feather. It was larger than the largest feather on the wings of a swan. It was larger than the greatest carrying feather of a golden eagle. And it gleamed with a brilliance, for it was made of gold. And as the sun hit it, it reflected shafts of fire. And he knew then why there were no birds singing in the forest. Because the firebird had flown through that forest, and that feather was from its burning breast. And the horse of power said, do not pick up that feather. If you pick up that feather, you will know the meaning of fear, and you will come to no trouble. So the hunter considered this. On the one hand, the words of the horse of power must be listened to, and the words were clear enough. On the other hand, no one in the kingdom had so rare and valuable a thing as a feather from the burning breast of the great fireman. And if he were to bring that feather to the king, well, he would be looked upon with favor. He would be accorded higher rank. He would be given gold and silver. And who in his right mind does not look to be looked upon with favor in the eyes of a king? On the other hand, the words of the horse of power must be taken seriously, and of fear and trouble he knew quite enough. It was a dilemma, and yet he could not take his eyes off the gleaming brilliance of the feather. What could he do? What would you do? The hunter considered his dilemma. He hopped down off of his horse, he picked up the feather, he got back atop and he rode swiftly to the palace of the king. He ascended the stairs into the great hall, he walked the full length of the great hall. Everyone in the great hall was dazzled by the brilliance of the golden feather. No one had ever seen anything so magnificent. It had greater value than the entire riches of the kingdom combined. The hunter took the feather to the king, he gave it to him. The king was astonished, he thanked him. He bestowed high honor, he gave him gold, he gave him silver, and then he said, you know, anyone so talented and so resourceful as to be able to find a feather from the burning breast of the great fire should surely be able to go to the very ends of the earth and find there floating in the sea by that shore, rowing in her little boat of silver with oars of gold, the legendary and magnificent Princess Vasilisa, whom I desire most of all things. And I request of you, in fact, I desire that you go there. In fact, I command that you do it, and if you should fail, The distance between your head and your shoulders will be lengthened by the width of my sword as it passes swiftly. The young hunter turned, head bowed, facing the ground. He took the long walk through the great hall. Tears copiously streamed from his eyes and fell at his feet onto the stones as he passed. He descended the stairs. Outside, the horse of power said, "Oh, hunter, why do you weep?" And the hunter said, "I gave the feather to the king. He gave me riches. He promoted me in rank. And yet he told me that I must go to the very edge of the world and find the Princess Vasilisa, whom no mortal has ever laid eyes upon before. And I don't know how to find her, and it seems to me impossible. And he says if I fail, he will separate my head from my shoulders. And I fear it is my death I am facing, and that is why I weep." And the horse of power said, "I told you so. I told you that if you picked up that feather, you would come to know fear. You would know the meaning of fear, and you would come to know trouble. Well, too much grief is not good for a man. And besides, the trouble is not now. The trouble is still to come."